Volume 6 of RWBY had many trials and difficulties for our characters to overcome. With Team RWBY having reunited at the end of Volume 5, they had to adjust to all of the changes that each of them had experienced while they were separated. Not to mention their journey to Atlas to bring their newly acquired relic of knowledge to safety, the Grimm that approached them afterwards, Ozpin's past coming to bite him in the butt a little bit, as well as Adam Tauros's pursuit of the group, not to mention the Atlas military difficulties, a lot of things that they had to deal with in Volume 6, and accompanying those challenges were the songs and scores of the volume. And thank you to all of the people who voted in the best songs and best scores polls. We now have the answers as to which ones are the favorites. So in this video, I will be going over the ranking of the 8 songs that were contained within the Volume 6 soundtrack, as well as the top 5 scores as voted on by all of you. So let's get right into the songs. With our 8th place spot receiving 100 votes, we have the song Lion Eyes. This is Adam Tauros's personal theme that played during the Adam character short that released before Volume 6 started airing. This song seemingly being from Adam's perspective, where he sees himself as the only one capable of doing what's needed to achieve a better life for the Faunus. Ties in very nicely with what we've seen from not only the RWBY series, but the Adam character short in and of itself, where we see Adam progress from someone who's loyal to the White Fang and just wanting better for the Faunus to thinking that he knows what is best, that everyone should just follow his lead and do what he says so that they can put the Faunus above humanity. Kind of shows his descent into tyranny and eventually where he blames other people for his own problems, that, well, he knows what's right, he wants to do what he thinks is right, and when other people do something different than that, well, they're the ones that cause the problems. A nice tie-in for Adam's character, not exactly the happiest song or most positive one, but definitely one that encompasses Adam's character pretty well, at least what we saw his character become by the end of Volume 6. And then we move to our 7th place on this list, receiving 123 votes. We have the song Big Metal Shoe, that played during the episode Lady in the Shoe, quite fittingly, which is the fairy tale that inspired Cordovan. But this song carries inspirations from, or at least references to, many other fairy tales that are contained throughout the RWBY series. Not to mention, this also seems to be sung from Cordovan's perspective, how she will not let Team RWBY or anyone disobey Atlas, that she sees herself as someone that is undefeatable and her opponents will just fall before her, that type of thing. An interesting song that does carry a lot of cute references to other things in the RWBY series, but it only ranked 7th on this list. Moving to our 6th place spot, with 203 votes, we have the song Miracle. This song played during the first episode of Volume 6, Argus Limited, and its meaning is pretty straightforward. They're simply praying for a miracle. When they were on the train being overwhelmed by Grimm and having to, abandon Team Juniper or let Team Juniper go on ahead so that they could rescue the other people on the train, and Team RWBY had to stay behind, eventually, leading to the apathy and all the things that they encountered there, the Lost Fable, all the different trials and tribulations that they did end up facing started at that point, and they were praying for a miracle to kind of get through it all, which makes sense given the, dark undertones that they eventually ended up going through moving into Volume 6, so definitely a fitting song for starting off the volume. But now we get to the top 5, and our 5th place on this list only made it to the top 5 by 2 votes, which was very surprising to me. Receiving 205 votes, we have the song Forever Fall. This is Jean and Pyrrha's song. I expected this to be a lot higher on the list because, Pyrrha is a fan favorite character, and the song brought on a lot of emotions for myself and many others who watched this as it played when Jean saw Pyrrha's statue. And it is made up of all of the little leitmotifs that were contained throughout the RWBY series of moments between Jean and Pyrrha. This song has a lot of meaning behind it. I'm glad it made the top 5, but I would have kind of expected it to make the top 3, though given the songs that are up there, up-ranked higher than this one, it does make a lot of sense, but still, I'm glad to see it in the top 5, and we'll be moving on to the best music in all of RWBY poll. Now, speaking of songs that have a lot of meaning behind them, our 4th place on this list, receiving 257 votes, is the song Indomitable. This song played during the final episode of Volume 6, Our Way, when RWBY was petrifying the Leviathan, going through all of the images from her past that we have seen throughout the RWBY series, as well as showing that image of Summer Rose. It held a lot of meaning for RWBY, and it held a lot of meaning for us, the audience, as well. This song is about having an indomitable spirit while moving forward. A good contrast to the song Miracle, where at the beginning of the volume they were praying for a miracle to continue moving forward, and now, after going through everything that they did in Volume 6, finally coming together, working to fight against the Atlas military, against the Leviathan, they have this indomitable spirit pushing forward to Atlas. And then we saw everything that happened in Volume 7, and we'll touch on that more when we get to the Volume 7 music poll, and probably in other videos yet to come before Volume 8 starts, and probably even throughout Volume 8 as well. But now we get into the top 3 songs for all of Volume 6. And in our third place spot, receiving 270 votes, we have the song Rising. That is the opening for Volume 6. And this one is more of a hopeful one, where they are rising in the face of adversity. Also kind of hinting at, everything that they're going to go through in this volume and how they're going to keep pushing forward. Definitely related to the song Indomitable. A lot of these songs have, underlying themes that are similar, but still a very good song to open up the volume. But then we move to our second place on this list and the spot of the ending theme of the volume. With 302 votes, we have the song Nevermoor. Even though Adam's personal theme, Lionize, was only in 8th place, this is a song about Adam as well. This one sung from Blake and Yang's perspective, though, about breaking free from him, at least so it seems. How Adam had this hold over Blake and Yang with both of the experiences that they've had with him. Blake in particular having the longer history with him, but Yang losing a part of herself, her arm, to him in Volume 3, and all of the things that they had to go through, and this song, being the ending theme of Volume 6, is very fitting for how the volume ended, how they were able to break free of him finally, but, there's still a chance that he might come back in the future, whether in flashbacks or otherwise. We'll see what ends up happening. But then in our first place spot, which doesn't really surprise me that much, receiving 387 votes, we have the song One Thing. This is the song that played during the fight between Cinder and Neo. Possibly Neo's personal theme, but I don't think we have confirmation on that, but it is sung seemingly from Neo's perspective, about the one thing that she has lost, her one friend, the one thing that mattered in her life, and now she is essentially on the warpath, aiming for revenge. That one thing, of course, being Roman Torchwick, and I hold to this day that Roman is alive in the RWBY series. The Griffin survived, Roman is alive, and I think he's coming back, possibly in Volume 8, but even if he doesn't return in Atlas, it would make a lot of sense if he returned in Vacuo, so, we're still going to talk about Roman on this channel, and Neo, of course, but, we'll see how things play out in Volume 8. But overall, I'm happy to see this song take the top spot on this list, and we will see how the top 5 perform into the best songs in all of RWBY poll that will be starting likely this weekend. And now we'll move on to the top 5 scores in Volume 6. Starting with our 5th place spot, receiving 82 votes, we have the Episode 9 score, which is the episode Lost, the one that kind of focused on Team Juniper, where Jean encountered the statue of Pyrrha, where it had the song Forever Fall, and kind of fitting that Episode 9 gets the 5th place spot, and Forever Fall got the 5th place spot in the songs poll as well, where Jean had the encounter with who we suppose is Pyrrha's mother, and that really touching scene there, how Team Juniper is able to move forward past this and kind of come a bit closer after this episode. I'm glad to see it make the top 5 on this list. And then we move to our 4th place spot, where we have the Episode 7 score, getting 97 votes. This one is the Grim Reaper, which we can kind of see why this score made it up high, with the action sequence including the Grim Reaper, Maria Calavera versus Talk, everyone arriving at Argus, the reunion between Team RWBY and Team Juniper, and everyone having those little touching moments there. The score was definitely nice to accompany it. And then moving on to our 3rd place on this list, we have the Episode 6 score, receiving 105 votes. This one is Alone in the Woods. In other words, the Apathy, the episode that contained kind of the horror and fearful undertones in Volume 6 in general, kind of in the RWBY series in general, what with the Apathy, but we'll see if more is included with Volume 8 and all the things they're going to encounter there with Salem, etc., but I'm glad to see this one make it up so high on the list. And then we get to our 2nd place spot. With 111 votes, we have the Episode 3 score, which is the Lost Fable. No surprise that it made it to second place on this list with the amount of information that was dropped in this episode and the music that accompanied it, with kind of the fairy tale that Jin was telling us about Ozpin and Salem and, you know, their continuing kind of love affair and trials that they went through, eventually coming to, well, Salem hating Ozpin and hating the gods, and Ozpin trying to reunite humanity, learning about all of this, and without the music accompanying it, it wouldn't have had the same feel as it did, so I'm glad to see this one make it up the list. And then in our first place spot, receiving 125 votes, we have the episode 12 score. Seeing Red. This is the one that contained the battle between Blake, Yang, and Adam. Very action-packed episode, and one where we saw a very impactful death in the RWBY series. We hadn't really seen a known character die since Volume 3, so this one carried a lot of impact, and the music accompanying it helped that impact land quite a bit harder. So this has been the best songs and scores in RWBY Volume 6. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Did any of the songs you vote for make it to the top spots in either of these polls? Were there any of the results that surprised you? Do you think that certain songs or scores should have been ranked higher or lower on the list? I'm really curious to know what you guys think. Hopefully you guys will look forward to future videos, theories, analysis, and the other music polls and other polls in general that will be coming. Volume 8 is just around the corner, so there's a lot to look forward to. Make sure to subscribe to the channel to keep up with everything going on, join the Guild of the Eternal Flame, tweet me at PhoenixKnight7, join our Discord server as well, linked in the description below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.